Fantastic. Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our UNICAP Seminar 3, the WWF Talk. So I'm Wendy. I'm so glad with you guys here, and also both you guys in person and online. Nice to meet you guys. So without further ado, let me invite Professor Janet Chen to kick us off. Professor Chen, please.
Thank you, Wendy. And good morning, everyone. Good morning. Morning, and good morning here, and good morning online over there. The camera is over there. So again, we have our capacity building talk. And then right after this talk, we are going to have a field trip, the second field trip. So today we are very honored to have one of the important partners of this project, WWF Hong Kong, and we have the colleagues sitting here. So here we have today we have a very compact schedule and also engaging schedule of today. Okay, so this is our rundown, very compact, and I wish we can finish everything on time so that we have some time to have our lunch and then we will have a field trip. So so we will have an overview of the project first, and then we will have Calvin and also Tiffany and also Ivan, the WWF representatives, to talk about the arrangement and also the AI applications in Shuihao as well as MyPo too. And then we have Dr. Elisa and her team to come to us and then to talk about their application of the research in Shuihao too. All right, and then lastly, we have something logistics that is about the field trip, okay? So again, I would like to introduce about the project. So this UNICAP project, we engaged 4 universities. So today we are very honored to have Dr. Gloss Ho from Hong Kong Baptist University. Please give her a round of applause to welcome her. And then we have Professor Brian Mann from the Education University. All right, so you will see Professor Tommy in the afternoon because this morning he is being the judges of the presentation, and Dr. Peter La because he has some engagement, so he is not attending today. And then we have Dr. Yan Guan and also Sunny, who is the UNICAP advisors. Sunny should be on Zoom. All right, hello Sunny. Hello, Sunny. Okay, so they always give us a very good hands for the UNICAP. And as I mentioned before earlier, so UNICAP we engage many different partners. So YMCA, so who will deliver the desert trip with us, and then we have the HACO, HKIQ and then EMHK Master Program in Environmental Management, so etc. etc. I think some of you are here are the students or alumni of the master program of environmental management. Where are you guys? Martin, and your name? Tommy, okay, and then we have your Dai Sihing here, Calvin, and also Brian, your Sihing also. Wendy is also the current student, all right? Okay. So for the UNICAP and also one of the partners of this program, we are very honored being one of the partner of another international program, which is called the World Sustainability Forum, which will be held in August in Hong Kong. So in this forum, we are going to give a presentation on the sustainability education that we have conducted not only within Hong Kong U, but also in other universities, how we engage the students. So we need your feedback. That is why we have been collecting the data from you guys, your thoughts, your views, how we can move better, and what are the areas you pressure a lot, etc., etc. So I believe the project coordinator will ask you something that is in the coach when you are on the way to Shuihao. Okay, this afternoon. All right, so this is our timeline of the project so far. So we have gone here, and today we are here, okay? Yes, we have finished the co-creation section 1 last Saturday, where you have a bit touch on your co-creation climate action. All right. And then we have the field trip today. And then afterwards, next Saturday, we have a talk in Maritime Museum by Professor Tommy Gray and also Brian. Okay. And then in May, we will see you again for our climate action co-creation. All right. And then afterwards, I've opened a talk for you guys that is with the CFA. So the Chartered Financial Analyst, which is a global recognized, well-recognized organization to talk about sustainable finance for you guys. All right. And then afterwards, we will have the presentation, not only you guys, but also the master students, Martin, and also some other students are going to give the presentation. And also I think part of the mentors who are the UNICAP mentors who are also the master student are very busy in June. And then 20th June is your show, okay? And that we will invite many famous judges for you guys, okay? So as to recognize your work in your climate action. So attendance, I won't go through details. So last Saturday, we have announced this new scheme for you guys so that you can attend the attendance, okay, for the UNICAP students. All right. So if you want to have more details about the scheme, do come to us or refer to the Zoom recording that we have put on the Moodle. All right. And then we have additional recognition for you guys in the proactive participation in your climate action. So we have 12 groups here, okay? So today we are very honored to have Group 1 mentors to give us a talk. And then I think in the afternoon, Group 1 and Group 2 especially, they will be very busy because they are using the data that all of us have collected and then for their project. All right. So today we are very honored to have Mr. Kelvin So and then Tiffany with us. And Kelvin actually has published a paper with us, with me and Tommy, that is about show you how. So feel free to browse to read this paper. So it's actually talking about the gap, behavioral gap, okay, and between your perception and actual behavior in your claim-taking behavior. All right. So it's a very useful paper that we are going to apply today, this afternoon. All right. And then we have Ivan also. So to give us a talk as well, to talk about the application and AI in MyPol. All right. And then afterwards, we have Dr. Eliza, okay, and her team to give us a talk on short talk on the research elements in the in marine claim, okay, digging, etc., etc. So should I pass the time to Wendy? Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Chen. So let's move on at our first sharing of today. So I would like to invite Mr. Calvin So and also Mrs. Tiffany Chen. Thank you.
Okay, hi everyone. So it's good that we can share our long time project because this project is already 8 years, starting from 2018. Okay, so before we go through the Shui project, so I would love to talk about what we have done for oceans conservation. So actually, WWF Hong Kong has different teams working on different conservation aspects and issues. For me, the first part of the presentation, so me and Tiffany will go through our oceans conservation program. So one of the significant programs which I cost 8 years effort. And after that, Ivan, my colleagues from my pro team, will also share how we utilize AI implication for conservation. So before I want to go through the. Okay, so for the achievement of our oceans conservation team, actually starting from 2012, we have working with the government to talk about the government's ban on trawling activity in all Hong Kong waters, which is also a really significant achievement for marine protection. So, and afterwards, we have also conducted different plastic and ghost gear removal campaign, working with different NGOs and university partners. And then since 2018, we have worked with a group of marine scientists and NGO partners to create this map to talk about the marine protection, about marine protected area advocacy work. So we have selected like 7 priority conservation sites from 30 identified important marine hotspot. So and actually, Shuihao is one of the 7 priority conservation sites. So, and since then, we initiate the holistic conservation projects for Shuihao Sanford. And now we are going through another stage because the government is planning to have more active conservation approach for Shuihao, such as designating as marine protected area, marine park, or even OECM as other effective conservation areas. So this is Shuihao. This is the place we are going. So is anyone have been to Shuihao? So okay, yeah, of course. Okay, so it will be a really good experience for you guys. So Shuihao is I would say Shuihao is an important, peaceful heaven for marine species. As you can see, we have clams, we have buffalo, different shorebirds, and do you know what is this species? Does anyone know? Even Chinese name or English name is all right. Anyone want to try? So the name is called horseshoe crab. So for Chinese name is Ma Tai Hai. Yes. So actually, it's an endangered species, and because today's weather is perfect for horseshoe crabs, is the perfect weather for horseshoe crabs moving. So maybe we can see the horseshoe crab appears on the sand flat. So I would like to talk about horseshoe crab first because horseshoe crab is an endangered species, and in the whole world we have total only 4 species of horseshoe crabs in globally, but in Hong Kong we can spot 2 species which also appear in Shuihao, so which is Chinese horseshoe crab and mangrove horseshoe crab. So for the IUCN Red List status, so Chinese horseshoe crab is listed as endangered species. So, and Shuihao is also one of the important spawning and nursery grounds. Okay, so this is all. What? Is someone want to talk about? Okay, anyway, so for horseshoe crab, so what is horseshoe crabs? Horseshoe crab is an invertebrate, although its name has crab, but it's not a true crab because it's closely related to spiders and scorpions. So you can see they have some spines. It look like scorpions. So according to the fossil records, they first appeared on Earth almost 500 million years ago. So actually, its basic body form has almost remained unchanged for millions of years. So that's why it's called living fossils. So so why Shuihao is so important for horseshoe crab? Because in terms of the life cycle of horseshoe crab, juvenile horseshoe crab live live on the intertidal habitats like Shuihao Sanford at least 10 years. So that means if it happens any accident, making that cannot achieve the maturity, so that means they are going to disappear. So for the life cycle, so adult horseshoe crab move offshore and live on the sea bottom. So during the breeding season, so the adult horseshoe crab, they will a pair of adult horseshoe crab will just come back on the sandflag and lay their eggs, and then they will go back to the ocean. and leave the eggs to grow and fertilize in the sand bed, and then they need to live for 10 years. So that's why this is also the problem why our recreational clam harvesting activities may harm to their habitats. And in Hong Kong, we have like several remaining spawning and nursery grounds such as 水口, Hat Lai, Dong Chung Wan, or even almost all of them are in the western areas. So this is a map created by WWF in 2012. So we tried to map out different marine habitats. So actually, we have so different horseshoe crab appears area, and some of them are corals area, but I'm not going to talk about corals today. So for clam harvesting hotspot, because we have a lot of sand-fed mangrove areas, so actually these areas are the clam harvesting hotspot. So after our some Google search research, so we have spotted around 7 to 8 hotspot. Some of them close to Patnai, near Lantau Island, and some of them in Tolo Channel, and one in Tai Tam close to HKU. So for the in terms of the threats from recreational activities, so as I just mentioned, Shuihao has become a popular clam digging destination for even locals and visitors, especially the government are pushing the ecotourism, different tourism hotspot. So actually, this kind of activity may harm to the ecology and the environment. So the ecological consequence of unregulated recreational clam digging may have different impacts, like disturbance to horseshoe crab, even altering the seabed topography. And maybe Lisa will go through around those clam harvesting impact from their research. And clam harvesting activity may also have changes to the community structure along the food chains, such as they may, because when they dig the sand or even the rocks, they may also take out different marine species like crabs, like different clams, worms. So these species are also the important food source of other species like shorebirds. So and I didn't mention clams has its own ecological surface like water filtering. So this is also different threats from the clamming activities. So what we have done from WWF aspect, so as first, because we don't know the place, so that's why for the phase 1 project in 2018, we have conducted a series of ecological surveys. We inform citizen science program because as you can see, for Shuihao team only have 2 people, so it's not possible for us to conduct a holistic surveys. So that's why for the program development, at first we conduct surveys to know about the ecology, and then we also arrange different eco research to let the people, Hong Kong people, to know this place. And clam harvesting is not the only activities happening in Shuihao. You can also do bird watching, just enjoying the beauty of the ocean. That's all right. So after we conclude different surveys and we have the data, so we try to have another second then first phase. So we have conducted a local community engagement activity because in Shuihao we have the local indigenous. They have a huge community. It's like 200 to 300 people living in Shuihao. So, but those people, they may not aware the clam harvesting activities may have some ecological consequence to their sand fed. So that's why we have worked with the local stores to. Oh, okay. Sorry. Before I go through the community engagement stuff, we have conducted different baseline studies. So this is the research that when at that time I was the master student. So I have conducted a clam harvesting assessment to know about what kind of clams, what kind of size they are collecting. So and then we create these conservation tools. So this is also the first of its kind clam harvesting tools. So it's called clam gauge. So it's like a ruler. So if you collect a clams, so you can just measure the clam size. And if the clam size is smaller than this hole, meaning that it's not mature, so you should leave it on the sample and let them grow. And then we have also conducted a size frequency map to try to map out the impact of clamming activities. So and then we have another clams for which is also the common clams that you may see from the surface, from the upcoming surface. So yeah, let's move to the local community engagement part. So after we conduct all those science research surveys for clam, so we work with the local villagers because there are some local grocery stores, so which they are renting the clam digging tools to the visitors. So because as WWF is not the resident of Shui Hao, so it would be great if we can work with the local people because they can help us to promote the sustainable harvesting practice. So that's why in Shui Hao we have 4 grocery stores doing their renting tool renting business. So we have distribute our cam gauge and we have also create different stickers and put it on their bucket. So when the people they rent the tours, so they can also get our conservation tools. So and those owner of the grocery store, we have also provide training to them and ask them to be our mascot to help us to promote the practice. So and because the local villagers they may not know the concept of marine protected area, because in the old days, conservation is like conservation for those villagers, conservation is like a jail. So because you cannot do anything after being marine protected area because this is their own traditional concept. So that's why we work with the villagers and then we bring them to the existing marine park. So this on the left hand side is our Hoi Han Marine Life Center. So we brought them to the marine park and talk about how they manage these important marine areas. And it doesn't mean that we need to take out their right of using that sandfed. So, and the right hand side is in Maipo, we also brought the villagers to see how WWF manage this important habitat. So, and those villagers, they may also, after this field trip, so they know the concept of marine protected area. And this is also the what we hope. And apart from some site research, we also try to activate some mural. So we have worked with some local designer and try to gather their ideal Shui situation, and then we draw it. We work with the designer and work with the villagers and try to co-create a wall to talking about the beauty of Shui and our hope for Shui. So besides some community work, we also work with, we also have some public education. So during the peak clamming season, we have some part-time staff to help with the providing education activities. It's an on-site education action. So we utilize different materials. This is the yes can machine. I don't know if you guys know. So we have created different marine species and try to create this kind of yes card to ask to try to educate the people what is those marine species. Okay, for the 4th phase of the project, because after all those local community work, science survey, we hope to utilize smart device to help with the visitor management stuff. So that's why we move forward to the Smart Shui program to talk about habitat and visitor management. So I will pass it to my colleague Tiffany to talk about the achievement and results of how we utilize smart device for conservation. Thank you.
So in this phase, mainly we would like to collect human data on human activities and also the environmental data to create a future visitor management plan based on the data we collected. And we have installed a couple of IoT devices on the sandflat, including water level sensors, visitor counters, and also we also distribute batch trackers to the visitors came into the sandflat, and all of this data will be transmitted to the private gateway showing on the right-hand side. And we can have a real-time monitoring using this central management system, and where we will receive long-term data sets as well. So thank you, Kelvin, just now for sharing his 7 years journey in Shuihao and overall what we have collected. We have a comprehensive data set, including data on clam population that we collected from the ecological surveys. And we also have harvesting records, and we collect that by photographing the clams that people are actually taking away from the sandflat. We also have horseshoe crab sightings, so we recorded their GPS location, so to identify where is the key habitat of horseshoe crabs on the sandflat. We also distributed batch trackers to the visitors to track their movements on the sandflat. And we also have water level and visitor number. So that's where we can see the relationship between the level of human activities and different tidal conditions. And with all this data, we can have some interesting insights into like key habitats of horseshoe crabs, and also if there is any changes in the clam population, and also harvester behaviors, since we have on-site education and also developed conservation measures. And then lastly, we can see if there is any potential conflicts between human activities and the important horseshoe crab habitat. And based on all this information, we can develop evidence-based conservation recommendations that can better protect this area in the long term. So this time we are so honored to be able to conduct the research with Professor He from Lingnan University, who has contributed to the clam population analysis, and also Dr. Gu from the University of Hong Kong, who has guided us through the entire process of clam analysis using AI. So the first will be here I'm sharing a couple of key results that we have created. So the first one is the horseshoe crab habitats. So since 2018, we have been recording horseshoe crab sightings on the sandflat, and we have collected nearly 600 horseshoe crab sightings, and we ran a hotspot analysis based on the data. And you can see the hotspot zones, which are the red and orange area, although only covers less than 6% of the entire sandflat. It's supporting over 70% of all recorded sightings. And this actually reviews a very critical habitat characteristic here on the Shuihao sandflat, which is this habitat concentration, the high concentration of horseshoe crabs within a small area. And that also means a small disturbance on this area could actually have a significant impact on the population. And as mentioned, over 90% of all sightings were the endangered Chinese horseshoe crabs, saying this sandflat is really important for their survivals because most of them are juveniles. Yeah.
We may encounter horseshoe crab in Shuihao, right? So is it a tiny one or the big one, according to the findings?
Yeah. So it's most likely to be small ones, and so like for the length of this, it's usually 50 to 70 millimeters, according to our results. So if you are really lucky, you might see mating pairs, but for working 8 years in Shuihao, we have only seen one pair. So slightly lower possibility, yeah. But today you are most likely will see small juveniles horseshoe crabs because we have good weather today. And move on to the second result. We would like to compare the clam population dynamics between 2018 and 2024. And I would say this is a critical time period because in between we experienced COVID where people flocked to nature, and very likely there was over harvesting happened in between this period. And so we will visit the clam survey in 2024 to see if there's any harm to the clam population. And here are the results. So although species compositions remain pretty stable, we can see an overall clam density decline of 58%. And if you think about it, we are losing over half of the clam population within just 6 years. And that's really alarming, that we should have some regulations to protect the clams on the sand flats. And in terms of size, we are seeing fewer small clams, and that means there might be some implication on changes on the patterns of the recruitment and reproduction. And we would also like to understand the clam harvesting behavior, and by that we mean how many clams are people taking away from the sand flat in average, what type of clams they are targeting, and also what's the size of clams that they chose to take home. And as said, we will visit these survey in 2024 again, and we would like to see how the stat change. And yeah, this is what Kelvin did previously, and it's really time consuming and a tedious process, but luckily AI exists, and we can use a new like AI powered clams size measurement this time. So on this application called Oslo Vision, you can segment the clam individually just by clicking on it. It's really fast, and then you can then assign a species tags to the clam species, and then this will create a bunch of numbers, and these numbers is actually the dimension of each clam individual, and that's what we will be inputting into a Python program, and that's how we do on Python. We'll draw 3 lines that's as a reference of 1 centimeters. Can I play the video? It's okay. So we draw 3 reference line of 1 centimeters on the caliper, so the ruler, and then in a flash, it will create an Excel sheet of each size, the size of each individual clam. So this year, we're really lucky to have Dr. Tommy Ho to send over 10 of his students to our office to do a little training on the AI part of the clam measurement. And I think we spent only an afternoon to go through 160 images, and that's really quick. And here are the results. You can see how efficient it's AI in helping us in processing the data. So we have actually doubled the data sets comparing to 2018, but we are using 3 weeks only comparing to 15 weeks. That's equivalent to 4 months. And here are all interesting insights that we could look into, but here I would like to focus, highlight one for you. So here we are seeing, although visitors to the sand flats, they are spending a similar or even longer time on the sand flats, the clams that they are able to collect has dropped by 32%. And we believe this is as a result of clam decline on the sand flats, meaning the clams available on the sand flats has decreased, and that's why people are collecting fewer clams, even they spend similar time on the sand flats, and the productivity of harvesting has decreased. But working in conservation is not always devastating, because we are seeing some positive outcomes from as a result of our education provided online and also on site. And so here we are seeing the proportion of meroitic species for these specific clams collected below the 5 centimeters, that's how we define immature, undersized clams that should be leave on the sand flat and not to take away, has decreased from 62% to 32%, meaning over 70% of clams taken away by people are actually larger than what we recommend. And people are really making use of the clam gauges, and all the community engagement has worked because we have together co-deliver the conservation messages. So lastly, we also would like to understand the spatial visiting patterns. So how we did it was we distribute the trackers to the visitors. We target the clam harvesters, and then the trackers recorded their movement every 5 minutes, giving us a total of 7,000 data points showing on this map. But our mission hasn't completed yet, because if you look at this map, people are going everywhere on the sand flats, and they are exploring every single corner, and we still have no clue where they are spending most of their time harvesting, and where they're concentrating, basically. So we ran a hotspot analysis based on the data collected, and you can see 2 things here. So people are mainly concentrated in the low shore area and also along the lowest tide line. And here it tells that people are really checking on the tides before they plan to go to the sand flat. And then there is an ecological vulnerability probably in the lower shore area, because that's where harvesting happens. And also people mainly enter through a single access point. So that's entrance 1. That's also where you guys are gonna go, enter the sand flats later. So there's also some implication for a targeted visitor management. So if you would like to provide on-site education, entrance 1 is where you should target, because that's where you will encounter most visitors coming into the sand flat. And then we overlapped the clam harvested data points on the horseshoe crab habitats. And luckily, we are only seeing less than 16% of clam harvesting activities occurred within these ecological sensitive area. And if you look at the graph at the right bottom corner, you can see the B1 zone, which is actually where the horseshoe crab lives, has the least human traffic, and people usually just use it as a transition zone to reach the lower shore. And this actually reviews there is something we could do about to minimize human-wildlife conflicts, given the rather small, minimal conflicts between human activities and the horseshoe crabs.
Okay, thank you, Tiffany, for talking about for sharing about all those research happening at Shuihao. I was so fortunate to continue this kind of research in Shuihao, because as after this kind of long-term monitorings, as you can see, we can tell the government, even the general public, so how the recreational clam digging activities should be regulated and managed in a better sustainable manner. So and actually we still have different issue happening in from the government side, because like since 2025, our chief executive, Mr. John Lee, so they have talking about we should assess the carrying capacity at popular sites, and they and he encouraged AFCD should should study the feasibility of designating ecological important coastal areas as marine parks. So actually, Shuihao is listed as one of the popular sites. So that's why we found is we should we have a good loophole that we can fill in. So in November 2025, we try to share all this data and long-term monitoring data with AFCD and Sustainable Land Office, because they are the most related government departments to consider how Shuihao should be managed. So we are so lucky because we almost have all data. We have visitor data, we have claim data, we have postgrad data. We can utilize all those data to generate different zoning plans. So which is really useful for the government. And what a surprise that we just found that Sustainable Land Office and AFCD do not have any meetings talking about Shui-Hao conservation because they are working individually. So, and it's good that we can be the middle parties to line up these two departments to talk about Shui-Hao. So, and we have another new targets and new opportunities because in December 2025, the BSEP launched the Hong Kong Biodiversity Strategy and Action Plan launch. And and you can see Shui-Hao is part of the priority projects here. So I would say this is a really good opportunity for us to talk about management, conservation, and even marine park opportunities. So, and they have also listed Shui-Hao, Sharp Island, and Capticula for area-based conservation measures. So, so after we gather all data, so actually WWF is now drafting a recommendation paper to help governments plan on Shui-Hao. So we have 4 major recommendations after all those data because as I said, so we are NGOs, we are not university researchers. So that's why we need to transform all those scientific data to conservation measures. So after we work with a group of experts and NGO partners, so the first recommendation, we hope the government can implement a zoning strategy because in recent years, we are talking about sustainability instead of just conservation. So we are not trying to shut down all those claiming activities because in other countries, actually claiming the claim digging activities can be one of the sustainable harvesting practice with a better management approach. So that's why we hope to have a like in the orange zone because after our data, actually not much claim diggers may stay in the high shore because normally they just go further to the lower shore. So that's why we hope to protect this area because this area are the major horseshoe crab hotspot. So we hope to set up as a no-take zone for no harvesting, collection, or removal because we didn't disturb other people's claiming from our data. So for the wild use zone, we hope we can suggest some conservation measures to control the activities. So because just now I just mentioned the chief executive Mr. John Lee has mentioned carrying capacity. A lot of people talking about carrying capacity, but what is the definition of carrying capacity? Actually, it's really broad because different people have their own definition, and different carrying capacity study are serving different purpose. So from our data, because we have all those claim data and we have the harvest assessment data, so we know how many claims on the same flat. We know how many claims the people collected. So that's why we can calculate the carrying capacity study for claiming activities. So after working with Professor Tommy Hui, he suggests we should use surplus production model to calculate the carrying capacity data. And because I don't go further for this study, but it's good that the government accept our suggestion. So we hope that the government may utilize our data to do more conservation measures. So, but just for your information, we have calculated the allowable harvests for the whole season. So that's why the government can use this quota to calculate different visitor numbers in each days. So for the final recommendation for the wise use zone, because we don't have much measures on that, but we hope the government can introduce minimum size restriction using our cam gauge, because from now on, the cam gauge is just a voluntary measures. We just encourage the people to use our cam gauge instead of regulation or restriction. So that's why we hope the government can introduce and utilize our cam gauge to introduce this kind of size restriction, quotas, or even incentives for clam release. Because from our research, not much people, they really want to collect the clams to take back their home. They just want to enjoy the sandflat. So maybe it's good if we have some facilities for the people to release the clams. That may be great. Maybe they can just exchange some present or souvenirs to encourage them to release the clams, the immature clams. And we also hope to the government to manage the destructive harvesting tools, such like this kind of tools we call 刺喉耙, so it can just fully cover the whole sandflat. That may harm the horseshoe crab. So I think we have already talked about our project result. I think you guys have at least you have a brief information, have some information about 水喉. So now we need to talk about the logistic of 水喉 field trip. So maybe Tiffany, can you talk about the maybe later? Okay, maybe after Ivan's and Alicia present. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Kelvin and Tiffany. So next, we will hear about a fascinating application of technology in conservation. Please welcome Mr. Ivan Learn, Senior Project Officer of Wetland Research at WWF Hong Kong, who will speak on AI application on conservation. Ivan, please.
Thank you. So it's certainly a jump to another part of Hong Kong, and it's in the northwest Hong Kong. Is another mudflat, but then it's within a large, behind a large mudflat. It is within the mangrove, and then we have managed wetlands for over 40 years, and now we are applying those smart technology and help us to conserve one of the most threatened mammal in Hong Kong. So how do we do this? First of all, just a reminder of where Maple is along the flyway. It's basically designated as a natural reserve for birds, primarily, and then it's protected, and it's a large area, 380 hectares. And I think you guys visited Maple some weeks ago, so I don't talk about very deep anymore. So it's a very open habitat, and we have zoning of management. So we have different targets for habitats. We mix those habitats for different kinds of birds and increase the biodiversity there. So these are our conservation targets, mostly birds, you can see. But then we have some others animals. We have mammals. And then we have a jellyfish that is new to science some years ago, a few years ago, just and it's also endemic to Maple. So we keep monitor the situation in Maple, and today I'll just focus on how we do the mammal survey and how we do apply the smart technology in conserving this Eurasian otter. So why, first of all, why do we need to conserve these animals? Where do we need to conserve Eurasian otter? So actually, little is known about this species, and we just know that it has a very small population, and it is very restricted in Hong Kong. Like it can only found in Maple and its surrounding wetlands, its surrounding fish ponds, and very little research is done in Hong Kong, but it's well studied in Europe. So that is the same species. But why do we need to conserve this and need to study this in Hong Kong? Because the population is really different, and their behavior is really different in Europe than compared to those in Hong Kong. So in Hong Kong now, just in a few years ago, we have a study in Hong Kong U, and it's published, and it only found 7 individuals in Hong Kong, in the entire Hong Kong. It's only found in the Bay Area, and 4 found within Maple. And this is very alarming. And then another study that we published by one of our authors is our conservation director now, and is go through the literatures and those newspaper and whatever you can find to find any hints of the distribution of otter in Hong Kong. And then he found that over 100 years ago, otters can appear in anywhere in Hong Kong, actually in Central or in Changzhou, and even in Shatin over the mountains in Shatin area. But then after, like, maybe it's because of the developments or so, and it's continued to strengthen its distribution. And nowadays, after the 60s, it can only be found in the Bay Area. So it is how the distribution and how it's changed and across the time, and it's some kind of showing how threatened is this species in this area. So I think last year we published a state of biodiversity in Hong Kong, and it is kind of high risk of local extinction. So a few years ago, we collaborate with KFBG because KFBG is also doing the otter research in entire South China or even further away. So we collaborate with them to collect the sign, the otter pupu. Otter pupu are called sprains. We find those fresh enough that we collect them and we do the DNA analysis. That is how actually this study conducted. So this study is conducted by collecting fresh otter sprains and then use the microsatellite in the sprains and to identify the individuals. So 7 individuals were identified back then, and then actually we're still doing this, and hopefully we can find share with you a more updated result soon. And then we collect the fresh sprains in Mai Po and surrounding area as well. So we also deploy the camera traps. So the camera traps is also is basically what we focus on today. This is the traditional camera traps. So these traditional camera traps, we need a lot of manpower to maintain because it's run out of battery, and then the SD card, the memory card will be full of images, and then we need to retrieve those memory cards in order to check whether there is anything in the photos, in the videos that you capture. This camera trap, by the way, is a passive recorder that is standby in the field, and then when something move in front of the camera, it triggers the camera to take a few photos and also videos. So this is called a camera trap. That is very useful in monitoring. And then we collect the DNA and then share with KFBG, and then this DNA analysis is done by KFBG. I don't know anything about DNA, so don't ask me anything about that. And then it's used a microsatellite to separate individuals, and this is how the study was done. So in terms of camera trap usage, how we use what do we use of the data collected? So we can understand that its distribution, but because we have such a extensive coverage of these different, each dog is one camera. So we have extensive coverage of camera within Mai Po and the surrounding. So we know where it appears the most, and then also the occurrence, if there is any occurrence pattern, any seasonal patterns, any preference on any time, and then also the sets. Sometimes we can see some sexual characteristic of the otter, sometimes, very rarely. And then also some behavior, like this one is fighting or something, like, yeah. And then this one is just walking by, and then here it's just left otter poo here. Yeah, and then we have some kind of video that's mother and cubs, and in our rebed. So we also use camera trap in Mai Po for other mammals as well. So we also monitor leopard cat. Actually anything just happen to appear in Mai Po, including this wild boar just jump in one of our sluice gates. Yeah, here, very cute. And also dogs as well, because dogs are threats, actually. Domestic dogs, free roaming domestic dogs are actually threats to wildlife. Sometimes people will see they scare away the birds, and also some can even hunt down birds, wild birds and ducks. So we also keep record of the species activity in Maipo. This is what we captured. Someone stole our bicycle and ride away. Yeah, we use the bicycle to travel within Maipo. So this also extended usage. We engage people, we educate people, because we want to conserve this animal and ask for, we advocate for conservation. So it is very important to actually also share this what we found with the public, with anybody, and we also do workshops and sharings. So just some moments of enjoying the cuteness of this animal. Okay. So this is also one of the behavior that it will shrunk on some dry mud, just to clear itself. So like I said, the challenges of camera trapping is we need a lot of manpower just to change the battery and to retrieve the memory cards. And then some sites are very remote that we need to kayak to those areas. And then it can be mitigated by 4G cameras, but then each camera trap will need we need a SIM card within the camera trap, and then that will cost a lot because we have like 30 cameras within Maipo. So if we want to maintain that kind of monitoring effort, that we need to come with some innovative or smarter solution. So that's how we traditionally do this. For 3 years, we collaborate with KBG and citizen scientists to maintain around 60 cameras in Maipo. So when when the camera trap is only maintained by us, about 10 cameras is the maximum number. So we also use the AI from some open source online that is free to use, but then the outcome is not very desirable because this platform, this Wildlife Insight platform, they identify mammals in all over the world, and then the algorithm may be not fitting our environment, and then the outcome is not very pleasant or not very desirable in our perspective. So like we said, we have a smart wetland initiative. We like to use some like smart technology and integrate our smart technology into our management. So what I thought is, how about with all these IoT device, one of them can be the camera traps. So we wrote a proposal to the government. So this is very supported by the Countryside Conservation Office, CCO, and we have received a funding to upgrade our traditional camera to a more smart monitoring system. So we set up our own network. We like a Wi-Fi network, or it's called a MARNet, or Mobile Ad Hoc Network. So we have our own network to connect to those camera traps. So camera traps can send the signal, send the data immediately after it records any photos and videos. They just send back to our cloud platform, that we can check our photo just in front of our computer. So that data return is much quicker, and then we can have a much easier because we incorporate with the AI identification, and then we can tell the platform to if any otter appears in front of the camera, please send a signal to us. Please send an email alarm to us, and then we can know that, oh, there's an otter appears, because that is the AI identification. when AI identify an otter appears in somewhere, we send a notification to us, and then this increases the chance of getting a much fresher otter springs for DNA analysis. So this is how we do this. And also because the AI can identify the photos and videos, and then it can help with the sortings. So which photo is actually having the animals detected, which is just some random blank grass moving photos. So these are actually the photos that how we set up. We have some stations in the MyPole for the connections, for the internet connections. And these are the smart camera trap. We have the solar panel so that we don't need to change batteries that often. And then if you remember, we have an open landscape that we don't have much trees or buildings around. So solar power is not a problem. And then we have some connections with the stations and then connect to the internet. So this is how the platform look like. We open the photo and then it has a detection of domestic dog. It already has a green box that's surrounded by anything it detects. And then it has a confidence level and tell us it's 94% confidence in this is a dog. So this is the AI that is confident in how confident is identifying this is a dog. And then we tell the AI platform whether it is correct or not, and then it can learn from its mistakes or even learn from its correct answer. So this is some example, like when an otter appears in MyPole, and then in the following morning we checked the boardwalk in front of the camera, and then we found two. This one on the top left corner, we found two otter springs nearby, and then we collect them to KBG, and there's another example in the bottom as well. Yeah, some otter. Yeah, it's leave the otter pool right here, and then next morning we go collect them, and also another. This one also leave an otter pool right now. Yeah, and then just get wet around somewhere here, and then we go check for the fresh otter pool. Yeah, just some more videos. Yeah, and then and also other mammals, the AI can identify those mammals as well. This is a leopard cat mother and a cub as well in our mangrove area. And the top right corner is a small Indian civet. And another case is that we identify an injured dog within MyPole. Is actually what's that called? It's a trap, a bear trap or something. Yeah, trap is the dog's legs, so it's very injured and badly. And then we set a dog trap just in front of the camera, and then the next morning we trap the dog, and then rapidly we send it to SPCA, and then this entire event happened within 24 hours. So it's with the help of this kind of immediate connections, we can do this rapid response. So it's very helpful, right? But then the AI still needs to. I still got my job now, so it's not replaced by AI. So I still need to tell the AI you have some mistakes, right? As actually here in the top left corner, the AI missed 2 wild boar in the grass. So I need to tell the AI, oh, there's 2 wild boar in this figure, and then here in the middle top. It identifies some domestic dog in some random places. If you can see, it's just a wrong answer. And then it identifies our panda logo as a cat. It's kind of too powerful, right? And then we need to tell the AI that this is a wrong answer, and then let the AI to adjust and new patches and new updates to adjust in the next update. Oh, and this, by the way, on the bottom left one is actually Otter. It is, but the AI just maybe it's moved too fast and it's too blur that the AI cannot identify it. It's identified as a wild boar, so it's Otter, and then it's also identified a mouse wrongly as an otter here on the corner. So our CEO actually comments on Eurasian otter as like a giant rat, and his proof is she's right. So and also one of the very helpful feature is that the AI can help us with the image sorting. So which images are blank images? These are just triggered by random grass movement, and which are having animals within the photos. So these, to me, it is save a lot of time, like save at least half of my time checking the photos, because I don't need to check every photo from the random folder that anything is with inside. So we share what happening in the social media. This is how we set up the camera, like in the field, and then we check the image in front of the computer, and then the AI can identify our target species, conservation species. And then this is how we set up the entire network. In MyPole, we have 5 stations. But then we still have some challenging, still have a challenge to this network, because it's not, at the moment, it is still not very stable. I can tell you, I can be very honest to you. So this is the visitor center. We have the optic fiber where everything's sent over to the cloud-based platform. But then the other stations, they need to connect with the main station so that it is connected to the internet. But then we have some problems, because like in the mangrove area, it absorbs carbon, but then it also absorbs signals. It's very good at absorbing signals. So we need to raise up the antenna to all the way high up above the canopy of the mangrove so that it can communicate with the stations. So this is done by our field staff. And then sometimes the vegetation will grow to block the signals as well. So I need to clear the vegetations as well. So, but then it is still not stable. Why? But because like I climb over to the roof of the center and then to check whether we can have a direct line of sight. Because when we have a direct line of sight of those connections, it should have a stable signal. But then I can see the station in one of our education center, but then we can see both stations. But then you can see in the bottom one, this station has up to 100 Mbps connections. But then on the top, we just have a very slow connections. So we don't know if this is interference problem or not. So we are currently actually still trying to figure it out and trying to solve this problem. So this is one of our problems. So that's about all, like how we apply our smart camera trap network in conservation, like helping us to check the photos, helping us to sort the photos, and helping us to collect fresh otter springs. And because of time limits, I won't share too much. But then we are also exploring other to apply the smart technology in other monitorings. Like we have so many things to monitor in MyPole. We have so many bird counts. We count the nesting behavior of the black-winged steels. We besides these otter, and we also have a jellyfish. How about we can use the drone to fly over to the gateway and then just count the jellyfish by AI. this is what we are thinking about, and we have like I said, we have so many faunas to monitor in MIPO, and we have so many environmental data that we monitor. How can we do this smarter? How can we do this with the current smart technology and AI developing? And for example, nowadays we ride our bicycle around the reserve and just count those birds individually and count those species. So the AI actually can identify the birds as well. This is from our Pentazoom camera that is very powerful. They can zoom very far away. From this image, it can identify the birds. But how accurate are they? And then we are also exploring the application of this. And then this camera is also very sensitive to light when it is at night. So this is not done by any researchers before, like how the birds are behaving, how the birds are distributing in MIPO when they are at night. So this can be done by the Pentazoom camera as well. So this is the direction, the future direction of how we want to explore. So that's all for my sharing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ivan. So now we will shifting from technology to marine biology. Let's welcome Dr. Alisa Carini, postdoctoral fellow at HKU School of Biological Sciences, who will talk about the marine claims of Hong Kong conservation and sustainable exploitations. Dr. Carini, please.
Thank you. Okay, thank you so much for the introduction. Nice to see you all. Thank you for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here, and thank you in advance to all the students who will help today. We really appreciate your work. So today, since there are so many students, I thought I'd actually talk a little bit about my journey at university and how we got to today. I'm actually mostly working on bioinformatics, so I do a lot of data analysis when I'm not on the mud flat, working on different invertebrates and how they are affected by climate change. But I started my journey at the University of Essex, so in the UK, where I was working a lot with corals. So we're on coral reefs and all of this nice tropical things. But then when I moved to Germany, northern Germany, there wasn't much talk about coral reefs at all. But they are really, they know their local environment really well. And they have extensive study on, for example, mussels, which are really abundant in the Baltic Sea, so colder environment. And that's where I started working with bivalves. So actually you can see here, this is a little larva. It's very small, you can see only micrometer big. So actually it's the first shelled stage for bivalves. And that's where I learned how to make them from scratch. And I brought this work to HKU when I did my PhD here. So we work also with larvae, and we applied a climate change scenario in the form of ocean acidification, which, if you haven't heard, is very simplistically just decrease pH. So how this will affect these very sensitive little bivalves. Mostly I worked on the omics part of it. So I'm really interested in the genetics behind it, and also structurally, so the mineral part. And then something that I still bring forward into my postdoctoral studies, it's like a bigger picture. So we start with larvae and what's happening with climate change, and then we're started thinking a little bit bigger. So this is often happening when you spend so much time at university as I have, thinking a little bit bigger. And we went into evolution and development. So what's going on behind, for example, the conserved state of early stages. This is something that you see often in animals, that the younger version of the animals look more alike than the adults. And so taking into consideration also these evolutionary and development component. So actually you can see here, these are all different like oysters and mussels, and this is a shipworm. So I don't know if you've heard of it. It's actually not a worm at all. It's a clam. But the larval stage is very similar to the rest, which for me, who thinks about clams and bivalves a lot is really interesting. And then we decided to go even bigger. Like, what if we actually look at the full phylogenetic tree of the bivalves, so all of your clams and mussels and oysters? What if we look at examples from all of the different clades to cover the full evolutionary profile of this group? And again, I was really interested in the structural components. So these are all shells that are scanned with micro-CT. And also the proteomics, genomics, things happening in the background. But looking at these pictures, I mean, it all looks very similar. Okay, there is different mineral density, but actually, when we look at it a little bit differently, so these are the same species, the same shells, but this is the outside of the shell, you can see all of these differences between them. And when you think about clams, they're all doing a very similar function on the beach or job. Their bodies look very similar, very simple. But then you can see the shell is very different. So there's a lot of diversity that emerges from the shell. And the reason is that they're all, the reason is billions of years of evolution that brought them to the structures that are optimal for the niche that they're inhabiting. And so there's actually a lot of diversity. This is from Hong Kong even. So there's a lot of diversity on our beaches in terms of clams that maybe you've seen when you go strolling on the beach or beach combing. And it's really important that we describe it and we understand it. So it's really important for biodiversity conservation that we know what's out there. How did we get there? And also when something happens like habitat destruction, habitat change, environmental change, then we can know, we can predict sometimes what's gonna happen, but we also can know what we lost. And ideally, we don't wanna lose any of this. But there was an important caveat to this study that I needed to eliminate the effect of the environment because we really wanted to think about evolution mostly. And so the environment had to be the same. So I had to find a location that had all of this taxonomical diversity in Hong Kong. And I went to so many beaches in Hong Kong. I spent several months trying to play detective, finding out what species are out there until I landed on Starfish Bay. If you don't know where Starfish Bay is, it's in Manashan, so on Tolo Harbor. And it's an incredible place for biodiversity, especially of invertebrates. And here I found all of those different species and many more. So yeah, it's an incredible place for research. So I would go on the beach and then I will look at all these empty shells, again, kind of playing detective, trying to figure out which genus it might be, and then trying to trace where they may be living, which is something that you will see today. Not super straightforward to get clams because they hide pretty well in the sediment. So I spent a lot of time doing this on the beach. And during this time, I was approached by many people. So there is a lot of fishermen hanging on this beach, especially during the times that I will be going at low tides and strange times in the evening and morning. And they were very interested in what I was doing. So they would approach me and they will tell me, why are you taking this? This doesn't taste good. Why do you only take like 10? You need so many more here, take these are good. So there was a lot of exchange. A lot of it was full in Cantonese, so I had also no idea what was happening, but I kind of got the gist. And so they had a lot of suggestions for me. And during this time, I also saw a lot of clam diggers. So this is the connection to the study that we are conducting today. I would see so many people coming in. They would dig for like maybe a couple of hours, and they would leave with massive bags of clams. And it was really shocking every single time how many they could find. They're really skilled. They're actually much better than me at finding clams. And yeah, every time that they would leave with hundreds of clams, it was really shocking because it just gives you this like feeling of like, how is it possible that they can take so many day after day and there's still clams? Like how, it was really difficult to comprehend. So that's when I started to think about clam digging, and I read a little bit about it, and I was educated also by my colleagues about this, that it's actually really popular in Hong Kong. It's in the news sometimes, usually not good news, but it's a known activity, popular activity that is sponsored on blogs in Hong Kong, things to do on the weekend by tourists. There's a active social media for clam digging activities in Hong Kong, which we find really helpful because we use it to also find out where the clam diggers are going. And of course, it's also been reviewed by AFCD in different locations. So you can see, for example, especially when it's associated with other activities such as other species, horseshoe crabs in Tung Chung and also shui hao, as we've seen, seagrass in Pak Nai. So there's, yeah, it's well known. But it's also an important local heritage, actually. So there's this connection to the local communities with clams. It's important for the local communities' food provision and also economically. So there's this deep link with the community. But also, clams are not just important for, will she move? Yeah. They're not just important for us, for the local community, but also they're very important for the environment, right? So they are ecologically important players in the intertidal zone. They are very abundant in terms of species diversity in Hong Kong beaches. And of course, they are important for food webs, right? So they filter food from the water, and then they are predated on by different things. So you saw, yeah, unfortunately, I am faster than the clam digs. So for them, that's not very useful. And yeah, so they are important for birds and horseshoe crabs, as we see in other mollusks. And they are continuously modifying the sediment. So they provide this important function of stabilizing and changing the sediment they live in. They leave shells behind. The shells help buffering pH. They change the stratification of the sediment. So they're very important at this sea to land interface. And so this is how the project that we're gonna work on today was born. So from looking at the clam diggers and the importance of conserving clam communities. So we wanna monitor the health of the clam communities, but ultimately, because we want long-term support of this local heritage in Hong Kong. And so when we started writing this project, we came across WWF, because as we've seen, they've been doing a lot of important work in Shui Hao especially. So obviously we came across all the monitoring that they've been doing, as well as these clam gadgets that were introduced before. And so that's how I'm here today, I guess. So the objective of the study that you will actively contribute to today are, of course, assessing the diversity at the site in terms of species and then also size distribution of the different clams. You will also help collecting samples for our seasonal gonad development monitoring. So we will look at, kind of like what kind of clams are reproductively active, at which stage of reproduction they are at, all of these things. And then also you will contribute to the population genetics that we will do for these communities. So I hope to get a strong data set for looking at the history, genetic histories of these populations, and maybe even identify some potential bottlenecks in Hong Kong. And then ultimately, as I said, we want to provide some good scientific data for making recommendation for Hong Kong. So these are the sampling sites that we're working at. So actually, we're working for now only on the western side of Hong Kong. It's kind of the nature of the funding that we have received from the airport. And so we have some sites in new territories. These are also associated with clam digging and on Lantau. So different sides of Lantau. Today we'll go to Shui Hao, South Lantau. It's one of our favorite sites. And I hope you guys enjoy it as well. And these are some examples of the data that we will produce. This is not from me, it's different papers. But after we collect the gonal samples, what will happen is that we can get histological sections, and then with staining in this way, we can see the different developmental stages of the clams. So for example, this is hermaphrodite clam. where we have both female and male gametes. And for population genetics, actually, you've seen a little bit with others as well. So we'll be able to map the different population as well as other things that I mentioned. So normally, my team goes out in very small numbers. We've already completed the first sampling during winter. So today with you, we start the summer sampling, which is really exciting. And also the first time that I go out with so many people. So really grateful for all of your input. And fieldwork is not always easy. Some sites are challenging, not sure how, don't worry. It can be really dirty and a lot of work, but actually is also really rewarding. So we've been lucky to see so many so many nice views, especially when we work at night and through sunrise, I have to say. And so it's actually also really rewarding work. And I hope that you enjoy it today. Hope you have fun. Hope you feel like you're doing some important contribution, and good luck with your program.
Thank you, Dr. Alicia. So now we will invite Kelvin and Tiffany back again for the briefing of the show how field trip.
Thank you. So thank you, Alicia, for introducing her research, because I would like you guys to really pay attention to this session, because I will be introducing the clam collecting method, and the data will be contributing to Alicia's research directly. So as soon as, hold on. So later on after lunch, you guys will be departing from here to show how, and here I would highly recommend you guys to get changed before getting on the coach. Get changed for field work, because there is no a proper place for you guys to get changed at the sand flats. And as soon as you guys have arrived, we will arrange you to store your belongings at the local stores, but it's outdoor area. So, and we only have one lady to look after your stuffs maybe. So avoid putting inexpensive stuffs in the local stores. And then we have quite a tight schedule today. So in section 1, group 1 to 6, we'll be doing clam survey, and the rest of the groups will be doing coastal cleanup. And in session 2, you guys will swap. So don't worry, you will be experienced both activities. And then by the end, we'll do a debrief and a group photo, and you will also have the service for a simple wash up at the local store, and then you'll get the coach on to from Sherhao back to Dongchong or Hong Kong University. And then here's a bit more details of the activities. So you can see we only have like 40 to 45 minutes for each activity. So please get along with your group mates and stay as a group. And then so for the clam survey, this is the method, and we are using a quadrat of 50 times 50 centimeters, and that's the orange square showing in the picture. And then we'll do a survey depth of 15 centimeters. And then each group, you will be responsible for at least 4 quadrats given the time limit, but still try your best to finish 6 quadrats. And each group will be assigned to 6 predefined GPS points, and you guys will be led by one WWF staff. So do not worry about where you're going, because they will lead you to each quadrat and do the survey, and you'll be collecting data on the species composition, clam density, so how many clams are within each quadrat, and also the clam size. And so for group 1 to 6, you'll be doing the clam survey first, and this will be in the higher shore, because according to today condition for tides, the tide will be getting lower within the clam survey. And so Alicia team will be following the students to collect sediment cores for where clams are found. So Alicia will be on the side with her teammates to collect sediment cores, and you guys can just do your thing. And then 7 to 12, you will be going to further lower shore to do your survey. So I would recommend a team to separate into 2 teams. So the first will be the clean team, and you guys, that would be the group representatives. And I did a briefing yesterday with the group representatives, and you guys are responsible for recording the data. And this is the data sheet. And I've also sent you the data sheet already. So the columns is where you should note down the size for each individual clams, and we are doing 3 measurements for each individual. So the length, it's the horizontal length, so the corner to corner size, and then the height, so the vertical measurement, and also the thickness of the clam, that's the width. And for the empty box at the left bottom corner, that would be where you put the odd species, so like clams other than these 3 species. And if you have any questions about identifying the clams, we have staff over there. So if you're unsure about what clams you are seeing, feel free to ask them anytime. And the clean team is also responsible for taking photos of clams. So this is how we are gonna take the photos. So for each quadrat, after you have done the quadrat, please follow all the rules here. So like lay the clam flats on the clam box, also sort them by size, so we can take that as reference to knowing the real measurement, the measurement that you manually measured, and from largest to smallest. And also caliper must be visible, clearly visible in the photo. So the orange ruler over here must be visible for scaling for the image analysis afterwards. And also photos should be taken directly from above, because if you take it from a tilted angles, then it will affect the scaling for the clam size measurement afterwards. And the photos are the good examples. Okay. Oh, so we have the caliper over here, and this is how we should measure the clams. So for length, this is so from corner to corner, that's how you're going to measure for length. And then the width, the height would be the vertical. No. So like the bottom of the clam to the middle, that's the height, and also the thickness would be like this. Am I doing it correctly? Yeah? Okay, perfect. And this is the quadrats. Kelvin might want to show us. Yeah, this just have to untangle it and dig it into the clam, and that's how we start to dig within the square. Everything clear? Yeah.
Because we will have 5 to 6 team scientists for each group. So it's like a leader. So they will help to standardize all those methods, because PEACE treat this surveys as a scientific survey, because all the data are contribute to Alisa's studies. So please be concise and try to standardize and follow the team scientist instruction. So all instruction that Tiffany mentioned, please follow, because we have already take reference from Alisa's survey method. So yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Not only Elisa's, and also group 1 and group 2 as well.
Also group 1 yeah, because they have the mini projects related to the climate measurement and oyster. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention. So I specifically allocated group 2 near the oyster and also the boulders area of the sandflat. So if you want to do take pictures and for the image analysis afterwards, can help with it. So also group like 7 and 8, they might provide help if they are available. Yeah. So the rest of the teammates will be the clam digging team, and this is how you can follow these procedures. So first you place the quadrat on the sand flat, and then first use the clam claws to loosen the sediments and check carefully if there are any if there's any oysters or sharp shells before you use your hand. and then dig evenly to 15 centimeters depth inside the quadrat. So not just a few holes inside the square, but evenly 15 centimeters depth. And then you can start finding for clamps. Then we'll use the caliper to measure the clamp size, the 3 measurements. And after you've done each quadrat, please remember to restore the sediments after completing each quadrat. And this is how to read a caliper. And you can look at the 0 over here and then see which one it's closest to. So in this picture, it's 71 millimeters, and that's the unit for reading a caliper, and that's pretty straightforward. But if you're unfamiliar with it, here's a simple instruction. And we will, of course, also provide a species ID chart. And on the charts, over 20 common clamps identified in Sherhow are shown on the ID charts. And there are also some brief description of how they look. So you can just have fun. If you find something interesting, you can try to ID it based on the information on the charts. And if you're unsure, if you want to confirm your answer, again, feel free to ask our staff that's in your group. And then there's one last thing we have to do. It's to collect the clam samples. So we'll provide you sample bags with each quadrat label and also the species labeled. And you have to collect 2 things, which are all merotric species, which is this species over here. And it has the smooth surface, and I would say it's pretty easy to identify, but of course, unsure, ask. All merotric species clams that's over 5 centimeters, and also species other than the 2 common clams. And we don't have the clams right now here, but later on when we find some, we can show you what are the the other 2 common clams on the sandflat. And active 2, we will be doing a coastal cleanup, and we'll clean up for like 40 minutes in a mangrove area, because that's where most trash is trapped on the sandflats. So given the sheltered area of the Sherhow sandflats, when the trash wash up to the shore, to the sandflat, it all got trapped up in the mangrove area. And so that's where we will be focusing on cleaning today. And after the cleanup, we'll be doing some garbage sorting and also weighting for each type of garbage. And here are some safety guidelines that I would like you guys to bear in mind. So we'll provide gloves for each of you. So make sure you keep them on the whole time and do not pick up anything bare hand. And if you collect sharp objects, please do not place them in the plastic trash bag that we are going to provide, and give it to the WWF staff for handling. And do not open any bottles or touch or take or lick any liquid that you found and you're unsure about. And lastly, if you found heavy objects, so like a massive ghost net, please ask help to remove it. And if we ourselves cannot handle it, we'll be contacting appropriate governmental department to handle it. So one last thing, today we will have a production team for a TV program called News Magazine, and the production team, they will be following us during the entire site visit, and they will be doing photographing and also videotaping. For those who have, we have sent through an email to you guys about this is happening. And if you have sent me an email saying you do not consent to be filmed, that's well noted. But if you have not, it's okay. Feel free to tell me or Kelvin anytime on a sandflat if you change your mind or you missed the email.
So I will follow with the press. So if you have encountered any issue that you don't want to disclose in the TV program, so just let me know, because actually New Magazine is 新聞透視, so the TVB press may take recording of our program, what we have done for the survey, yeah, and beach cleanup as well. Thank you. So any questions about the upcoming arrangement and logistic? Okay. Yeah, because we have a really tight schedule, so we only have only a short period of time for lunch, and then we need to get back to the shuttle. So yeah, maybe I pass it to you for the arrangement.
Okay, thank you to all our speakers today, Kelvin, Tiffany, Ivan, and Dr. Alicia for your wonderful presentation. And now we have a really quick Q&A session. Do you guys have any question to ask to our speakers?
So I have questions to WWF. Oops. Okay, I have questions to WWF because you've mentioned that you proposed something to the government regarding the share how, right? You propose the share how should be perhaps it's the marine park, isn't it? So you have studied the capacity that the share how can carry. So yesterday, actually, I attended the town planning board as a member of the board. So one of the consideration that we may think of is the transport. So what do you think about the transport arrangement to share how, which is an important site for the biodiversity? Would it be well planned, support the tourists to go there as so many tourists can come, or you rather prefer is a very difficult place to go so that less tourists will join?
So this is always a really controversial issue to talk about conservation, because as a conservationist, sometimes we don't want to disclose, oh, there is a lot of full of biodiversity, so people should not go there. But it's not the purpose of environmental education, because we are talking about how to be environmental responsible. We are talking how to utilize sustainable harvesting practice to do ecotourism instead of just tourism in the environment. Because from the point of view of the government, we feel like there's some difference between the definition of ecotourism. Because from government side, it's like anything related to tourism in the environment is ecotourism. But actually, it's not, because we are talking about environmental responsible behavior. We are talking about how to be gentle to the biodiversity. So I would say transportation is not the major issue that we care, because the general public, even the visitors, can just search clam digging. So you can get everything you need, like transportation, how to rent the tours, where you can go, like in 小红书, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So you have a lot of channels to get the information. So we should not hide. This is what I think conservation is. But the thing is how we talk about conservation, how to let those people know what is environmental responsible behavior, sustainable harvesting practice. This is the major problem. And actually, we have suggested the government for the transportation, because there's a huge problem. Because let's say you take 2 hours from your home to Shuihao, and then you find out that, oh, there's a full of people, and I cannot find a place to dig, to do the camp digging. So I should explore outer area to have a bigger exploration. So this is the major disturbance to the environment, because it's meaning that you are not just focusing on some small areas, because you're trying to explore the whole area. So how to let the people to know there are a lot of people, so you should not go. So that's why we talk with AFCD. Is it possible to let the general public or visitors to know in Dongchong? Is there any live board to let the people, because we can set up some quotas, we can set up some entrance counter. So let's say if we set up like 100 people per day, so and then now on the beach there are 101 people, so meaning that is exceeding the carrying capacity. So the lifeboat at Dongchong's bus station should have shown, oh, there are a lot of people in Shuihao, you should go another area, which is not exceeding the carrying capacity. So this may be a good way for the public knows, okay, there are a lot of people, I should go another area, not to bring a harmful impact to the environment. So maybe it helps because I would say Lantau, actually, I don't think Lantau can allow a lot of a huge enhancement for transportation because the road only single way, so and the bus are limited and the environment are limited. So I don't think it can allow a lot of people, like 1,000 people. We have seen in 2021 Easter holiday, it's like 1,200 people on the Sandford. It's like everywhere are people. And then from our survey, each person collect 150 clams per day. So you can do the calculation, 150 times 1,000 people. It's like 150K clams are collected in the same day. So how can Shui-Hao Sandford can suffer this kind of harvesting event? So I would say we should not hide those information and we should not hide to talk about Shui-Hao. We should talk about how to educate those people. As far as I know, the government want to establish an education center at entrance 1, so which is the most popular entrance. You can engage everyone at that entrance. If the government have this kind of intention to protect Sandford, protect Shui-Hao, they should distribute more people to do the education, do the restriction, do the enforcement if there is law to enforce. So this is my response. Thank you.
Thank you, Calvin. So one more question left. Any of you want to?
Right, I would like to ask Ivan about the AI training. When you have purchased the AI from the provider, you said that the AI may sometimes make mistake, right? Do you have to tell them this is a cat, this is a dog, something like that, this is an otter, and then how many times it will become accurate?
Yeah, thanks for the questions. Actually, nowadays we have 4 indicator species, like how well is that performing. We have otter, we have leopard cats, small Indian civet, and dogs that we choose as a indicator now. And the accuracy now is otter is only like around 70-something% accuracy. Accuracy is talking about the AI correctly identify it, and then we consider those false negative. That means the AI didn't find animals, but then actually there was otter there. It missed the identification, missed the otter in the photo, and also consider that it detects the otter, but then I identify it as a wild boar, like that. So we consider those cases, and then we calculate the accuracy. So now it's about 70%. But then we found out that actually at the beginning is misidentified a lot, like the rats, because the AI wasn't trained for rats. Maybe the company that we actually hire the company to develop this for us, so they have some kind of developed prototypes before they apply to our environment. But then when it comes to MIPO, it misidentify a lot of things, like the reeds, the grass, they will misidentify as leopard cats. So those they need to adapt to our environment, and we need to teach them. And then how about like half year, like 6 months of teaching the AI is improved, and then it's now currently 70% of otter. Like but then I want to highlight is that it actually didn't miss a lot. Right now, didn't miss the otter a lot right now. So actually, it is too powerful. Like it will identify something else as otter, but then it's not actually otter. But then when there is actually an otter, it won't identify it as something else. Now, so it's kind of like I rather the AI misidentify something as author. Like I rather it do this than compare to it miss an author, right? If you consider that how rare the author is, I don't want to miss a chance for the camera to capture the author. So this is how the AI is performing now. So, but sometimes, like for the Leopardcast, is around 80 something percentage in terms of accuracy, but sometimes it still identifies something like the border fence as in Leopardcast because of the dots in the image. Yes, so it's still. I think it takes time for this kind of technology to be mature and reliable enough to replace our job. But then which is but it's
that's why we still have our job, because
there's
30% mistake. But
Yeah.
how do in comparison with the birds, because there are so many, will it be making more mistake?
Yeah, in terms of that, birds, some birds are very similar when it compares to mammal. That's why we choose mammal as a testing point, because mammals are somehow more easier to identify, right? We only have like 10 or 20 mammals in my poll. So like birds some of the birds are really similar, and just a tiny difference two species already. So in terms of that, the AI module they use to identify birds and mammals can be different. So I asked the contractor, and they told me that the AI module that we put on the mammal system actually is not developed for the birds. So they are separately developing for another set of birds. But then we also need to step back a little bit. Like, what do we need to identify every bird into species, or do we need only identify into a family? So if we only need the data for families, that is acceptable. But then if some survey we really need to identify down to species, then maybe we still need to conduct by human eyes. So yeah.
Yes, very perfect.
Thank you, Ivan. So Professor Jenna Chan wants to talk more about the co-creation part.
Thank you. So as a wrap up of today, I would like to show you a documentary. Perhaps you can watch it at home. So it's a documentary that is led by the Environment and Ecology Bureau and the Environmental Protection Department of Hong Kong SAR government, as well as the Ministry of Ecology and Environment. So this documentary is filmed last year, I think also this year too, so as to talk about what Hong Kong has already done for protecting the environment in terms of the policy, in terms of our air, water, biodiversity conservation. I think a lot of footages are from the WWF as well. And a bit moving fast forward to a bit, okay, this is a sea otter, okay, that the Eurasian otter that we found in Maipo. And then this kind of conservation efforts that is actually have shown that we have done a lot of things, and this is me, so skip it. You can watch it at home. All right, so it is a very good documentary that is talking about the Hong Kong environment. So you may get a glimpse of it at home. Okay, so as to make a summary on what Hong Kong has done. All right. Okay, so here we have the UNICAP has already gone through, okay, this halfway. And then we have experienced the co-creation section. And then next slide, please. And for your roles, for the student climate ambassadors, we have gone through, like, say, for example, you are being the maybe passive learner, listener. Next. Okay. You may at this stages right now, before as well. Okay, but probably because you are having more knowledge building, capacity building, as well as this afternoon, you're going to carry out some more actions to protect our environment. So eventually, at the very last stage, you will become the mentors and leaders, and hopefully you can become the advocates and partners as well. So in the coach, we are going to ask you something about your roles that you have been gone through so far, as well as what you're going to expect in the future for especially dealing with your climate actions. All right. So that's all my sharing.
Okay, thank you, Professor Chen. So our how pick-up point for this afternoon. Remember, guys, our pick-up point of Hong Kong U is the next to the main line. If you are not familiar with Hong Kong U, we will bring you to the Happy Park. And remember the time is 1:20, 1:20 p.m., 1:20 p.m. And also Tung Chung pick-up point is next to the exit A from the Dongchong MTR street level, and the time is 1:50, 1:50 p.m., 1:50 p.m. So the lunch arrangement, if you want to eat in Hong Kong U, our staff will bring you guys to the canteen, the Swire canteen, because you need to have staff card or student card to buy food. And we will bring you guys to there. So as Tiffany mentioned, if you don't want to film, you can tell WWF stars. And here is one of the bonus part. If you are not getting 70 hours of UNICAP program, you can register it. And also the district announcement, please read your email. If you're shortlisted or like waiting listed, please read your email. And also remember to pay a refundable deposit to the YMCA about 2,000 HKD. Remember to read your email. And also please to have a post questionnaire of today, because your feedback can help us to improve our future events. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so let's present our certificate of appreciation to WWF stars. May I invite Kevin, Tiffany, Ivan, and
Professor Bryman
Professor
and Dr.
Bryman.
Gloss Ho, please. Elisa, next one.
Okay, here. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Next, we would like to invite Dr. Alicia and also her teammates.
Here, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, it's time for our group photo. Can we move on to the front more? Camera. Who's can we move on to the front? 要影埋後面啲人啊 so we can take a group photo with our Zoom UNICAP students. 好，大家稍而喐步起身啦 please move on to the front of the stage.
攞下我哋啲數份啊，好冇？嚟啊嚟啊嚟啊嚟啊！你想食飯啊？過嚟啲，過嚟啲，過嚟啲，過嚟啲，過嚟啲，過嚟啲。七號啊！OK，俾人哋咪影啊！過嚟啲，過嚟啲。好好好。
For those who are not familiar with Hong Kong, you please stay behind for a few minutes. We will bring you to the Happy Park, which is the point of waiting the shuttle bus, waiting for the bus.
有冇人唔識去㗎？有冇人唔識去㗎？留低啊！好快好快。
And anyone want to eat on the campus for the Swire canteen, and you are not from Hong Kong, you please follow us too.
如果要喺 canteen 食飯咧，要有卡嘅，我哋就幫你拍埋。有冇人想喺 Hong Kong U canteen 食？
So you guys need